Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. This is your guest host, Big Easy, filling in for Jim today in the studio with our senior baseball analysts, J Dash and JK47. We're going to wrap up our NL West preview here, MLB preseason talk. We've been doing a lot of it, in depth, everything you need to know about your team.
Oh, it could be more in depth, man.
No,
we can make
not
these
really.
Hour segments. If we
it don't
talked
need
about
to be-
each player and their
You don't
stats and
need
their
to
career
talk about,
stats,
no one needs to talk about each player and their stats.
people love it.
Unless, I mean, yeah.
What's their ISO?
Yeah. If you want to know all that stuff, you can go to wherever you find that information at.
Fangraphs.
I observe the game. I watch
Yeah.
them, and then I can tell you who's good and not. But anyway, let's wrap it up here with the LA Dodgers. We already broke down the West here. We said that the team in last place was going to be, who was it?
Colorado.
Yeah. You liked Colorado. I thought the Dodgers were going to end up.
Padres are Colorado.
Padres, Colorado. They're in a cellar. Diamondbacks are up and coming this year.
Yeah.
They were on a tear. We still see them as middle of the pack, but who knows, you know?
Right.
And obviously, we all like San Francisco.
Yes.
So, what are the Dodgers' chances this year?
Well, I think they look like a very good team. They just got to get healthy. A couple of re-signings they made. They re-signed both of their second basemen, Howie Kendrick and Chase Utley. Easy. You said you watch baseball and can tell if a player is good or not. Is Chase Utley any good?
Chase Utley is still good.
Still good?
He's still good because throw a hit in there when you need him to.
Yeah, I think he could be a pretty decent hitter. He's not going to add too much else outside of that. And I don't think he's going to be starting for him. Unless, Justin Turner isn't healthy right now, so he may get some play at third base here early in the year. But when everybody's healthy, I think Utley's just a good bat off the bench.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to get at. He should just hang him up. Obviously. And I'm all for these guys. I'm tired of these guys, too.
You love people hanging them up.
They need to hang them up.
You just want the MLB to be Cuba.
No, I don't, honestly, all good for Cuba. Good for any Venezuelan who wants to come play baseball. They could be all international players on every baseball team. I would still love baseball the same. I don't hate race or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
I get it.
But I'll hang them up too. You're not going to get a concussion and brain damage from playing baseball, but you know what? Still hang them up. You're got tons of money. Go relax. Go relax.
They also re-signed pitchers Brandon Beachy and Brett Anderson. Now, Brett Anderson, he is injured. He's actually had surgery on his lower back, I believe it was. He has a lower back injury. I don't know if he had surgery or not, to tell you the truth, but he's out 3 to 5 months, so he's beat nuts.
Be out.
Couple signings they made. They signed starting pitcher Kenta Maeda. This is going to be his rookie season, though he's not a very young guy or anything, coming over from Korea.
Well,
but he looks like a pretty decent pitcher. I don't think he's going to give you a high number of strikeouts or anything, but I think he's going to have good control. He'll be able to keep his ERA somewhere in the threes. I don't know, maybe 350, something around there for his rookie season or whatever. I kind of see him maybe give you Hyun-Jin Ryu type numbers. Ryu really didn't strike out a ton of people, but he had great control, and really when he's healthy, he pitches very well. He pitches somewhat like a number 2 pitcher. And I think Maeda can give you something like that. You could trust him as a number 3 this season or something. They also signed starting pitcher Scott Kazmir as well. This guy's been pitching pretty well over the past few seasons. He has some injury problems as well, and I hear he actually had a loss in velocity, so we'll have to see how that turns out for him. But I don't mind him in the rotation either. They also signed a Cuban pitcher, Yasiel Sierra. They're comparing him to Raisel Iglesias from the Cincinnati Reds, and we seen last season that guy can be a beast. And they're saying that Yasiel Sierra actually has a higher ceiling than Raisel Iglesias, but they're saying he's a little bit less polished. So he's going to start off in the minors, and I don't know when we're going to see him here in the bigs. He has to work out some kinks or whatever before we see him. But that's another starting pitcher that you might see in the rotation at some point. I don't know if it's going to be this year or not. They signed utility player Elian Herrera. They signed outfielder Jordan Schaefer. And relief pitchers Joe Blanton and Lewis Coleman. Coleman's a pretty solid reliever as well. At least he was when he was in Kansas City system. And Joe Blanton as well in Kansas City system pitched well for the Pirates last season when he went there at the deadline as well. And I really like Joe Blanton, to tell you the truth. And a couple trades they made. They traded for Frankie Montes, another good young pitcher. And this guy has huge upside, to tell you the truth, but he's actually out 2 to 4 months with rib surgery. They got Micah Johnson in the same deal and Trace Thompson, 2 more prospects. Micah Johnson is a second baseman. He's 25 years old. There's a good chance we'll see him this season if room ever opens up for him. He hit .315 with a .376 on base, had 28 stolen bases in AAA last year. He did get 100 at-bats with the White Sox. He only hit .230, though, in 100 at-bats, so he really got to step it up. He really got to show he can hit in the big leagues. But he's a top prospect as well. Not a top 20 prospect or anything, but he is a top 100 prospect. And Trace Thompson is a good prospect as well, and we could see him this season. He's 24 years old. Like I said, he came over from the White Sox as well. This was on that Todd Frazier trade. The Dodgers actually gave up Jose Peraza to Cincinnati in that trade. Cincinnati sent Todd Frazier to the White Sox, and the Dodgers got some very good prospects in return from the White Sox, including this Thompson here. This guy, he K'd too much in the minors, but he actually cut it down drastically last season. He hit .260 with the .304 in AAA, but then went to the major leagues and got 122 at-bats and hit .295 with the .363 on base. This guy has good power and plays good defense, but we'll have to see about that strikeout rate, if it's for real or if it's going to drop back down. And I don't believe he's a .295 hitter in the bigs either. I think he's more of a .260 hitter or whatever, but he can still be a very good player. So they got some good players in that deal, giving up just Jose Peraza, who is a good second base prospect. They got some good players in return here. And they traded for shortstop Eric Mejia from Seattle, gave up relief pitcher Joe Weiland for him. Their losses, Zach Greinke to free agency, that's obviously a huge loss, and Jimmy Rollins to free agency as well.
Didn't Jimmy Rollins sign the minor league deal somewhere?
Yeah, Jimmy Rollins is with the White Sox now.
South Side.
They lost Alexi Ramirez to the San Diego Padres, bring in Jimmy Rollins. They also have a prospect out there that they're looking to get some playing time for. But anyways, back to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So their outfield, they have Jock Peterson in center field. This guy has to hit for a better average. He has the power, but he strikes out way, way too much. How many strikeouts last season?
170 strikeouts and 480 at-bats.
That's way, way too much, and that's going to keep his average down, and it's going to hurt everything else. You're not going to be on the bases to show off that speed, and you're not going to have as much power. You're not going to show your real power because you're not hitting the ball enough. Yasiel Puig has to hit better as well. He had a down season last year. I think this guy can be an elite player. He just got to keep his head on straight. There was actually talk he was in a domestic violence situation, and it looked like he was going to be suspended for a while, but he is not going to be suspended, so he'll be there to start the season. So you got Peterson and Puig. Your outfield is young there.
And they're out of control.
They're out of control.
They're young and out of control.
But you got Andre Ethier as well. This guy, I don't know. He's above average player, but he's not a guy I'm really a fan of necessarily. He'd give you some power or whatever. Pretty good hitter.
What's wrong with Andre Ethier?
Nothing. They've been trying to push this guy out for years, and he always ends up in their outfield somehow. They got Carl Crawford as well. He looks like a fourth outfielder at this point. He might get some playing time.
Hang him up,
Ethier.
Carl.
Who knows? Scott Van Slyke's out there as well. Trace Thompson, like I mentioned before, is another guy you might see this season. So they have a ton of options in the outfield, including that Enrique Hernandez, Kike Hernandez, whatever you want to call him. He's actually injured right now, though. He's recovering from a right shoulder surgery, so we'll see about that. But they have a lot of depth here in the outfield, a lot of options. And really, they have a lot of options in the infield as well. Behind Adrian Gonzalez, who's one of the best and most consistent first basemen, one of the most consistent players in all of baseball. What'd you say it was before? 100 RBIs in how many seasons?
He's had at least 90 RBI in 9 of the last 10 seasons.
Yeah. So this guy's always driving in runs. Some years his power's a little bit down. Some years it's fine or whatever. But he's always hitting the ball well and driving in a ton of runs. And Scott Van Slyke behind him as well. I like Scott Van Slyke. He can play outfield and first base. Second base, Howie Kendrick, like I said, they re-signed him. He's a very good second baseman, and Chase Utley behind him isn't terrible. Enrique Hernandez can play second base as well. So you got a ton of options at second base. Obviously, Howie Kendrick's going to get most of the starts out there, though. And shortstop, you got one of the most exciting players in baseball right now, Corey Seager. Everybody's pumped up to see what this guy can do over the course of a full season. Now, he's actually out for the next couple weeks with a sprained left knee, but he should be back for the beginning of the season. And this guy is much better than his brother Cal, who plays for the Seattle Mariners. Corey Seager can be an elite player, and he's going to be one of the best hitting shortstops in baseball this season.
That's a bold statement.
You don't believe it?
I believe it when I see it.
Corey Seager can be one of the better hitting shortstops?
I mean, I do like what he did last year whenever he was called up, starting in the playoffs, too. I mean, I love the bat. I envision a move from him to third base eventually at some point.
I mean, it could happen, but a lot of people are saying he's a bigger kid, and a lot of people thought he wouldn't be able to stick at shortstop, but he has pretty good range, better range than people think, so he may be able to stick, and you really do want him to stick, because if you can bring that kind of bat to the shortstop position, you got huge value there, you know what I mean? If he moves to third and you bring in a guy to play short that doesn't have as great of a bat, then you're losing a little bit there. But Justin Turner at third base, I mean, he's a pretty good hitter as well. He's always up around 300. What he hit last season? 294 with a 370-something on base. Guy can hit, but again, he's injured. He's recovering from left knee surgery as well. Chase Utley could get some playing time at third base to start the season here. Alex Guerrero as well. I mean, this guy can play the outfield as well. So many options here on the Dodgers and so many good players. I mean, there's only a 25-man roster, though, so, I mean, there's going to be good players getting cut at some point this season because you got good players in the minor leagues as well.
Well, Chase Utley, is there a possibility Chase will be cut?
Or dealt for something. I don't know. It's possible, yeah, man. And then at catcher, he has Manny Grandal. He's injured as well. He's recovering from left shoulder surgery. There's going to be guys on the DL to start the season, so you're going to have a lot of room for some of these guys to begin with. But I mean,
who's catching here? Who's catching here in LA?
Well, you got A.J. Ellis and Austin Barnes. Now, Austin Barnes is a young guy, and he showed a lot of upside in the minor leagues with his bat, and I'd like to see him get some playing time. But A.J. Ellis, I mean, he's been a solid veteran for a long time now, so I'd probably expect A.J. Ellis to get most of the starts if Grandal misses a lot of time, and Barnes to get some playing time here and there from that. What do you think about this offense, though, 47?
Honestly, I think it can be hit or miss. What are you going to get out of Puig this year? I know he was hurt last year, but, I mean, he seemed kind of like lost in the clouds at times also, too. I mean, Jock Peterson needs to cut down on that strikeout rate. I mean, because striking out 170 times and 480 some at bats really isn't cutting it. Doesn't matter how many home runs you're hitting. I mean, I do like Ethier in left field, though. I mean, he's quietly been consistent. So he'll split playing time with Crawford. I mean, the infield, Seager, I'm excited to see what this kid can do for a whole entire season.
Yeah.
Justin Turner, the injury concerns there. Gonzalez is going to do what he's going to do. I thought bringing Kendrick back was a really good idea.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this infield looks really good to me. And really, I think the outfield's a little sketchy to me. It depends on what Jock Peterson does. I mean, I never really trusted this guy to be able to hit because he's always struck out a ton, and I think he's going to continue to. But he does take a lot of walks, too, so that helps his on-base percentage out. I expect Puig to become an MVP-type player at some point. I don't know if it's ever going to happen or not, but I could see more in this out. I could see wanting to have more in this outfield with Peterson and Ethier, especially if Peterson can't turn his strikeout rate around.
Compared to last year, or do they have an improved roster? Does it look like?
I would definitely say so, just because of Corey Seager, this young shortstop. I mean, he was a top 5 prospect in all of baseball. He came up and proved why he was a top 5 prospect, and this guy can hit the ball out of the ballpark. He can hit for an average. and he plays good defense. Maybe he does move over to third base eventually when he gets a little bit older, but right now I'm keeping him at shortstop and making this infield look beast. And that's just the half of it. I mean, their rotation still looks good to me. I know they lost Zach Greinke, but you still got one of, if not the best pitcher in baseball, in Clayton Kershaw. You got Scott Kazmir and Kenta Maeda. Like I said, they signed both of them this season. We'll have to see what Maeda gives them. You were expecting to have Brett Anderson, like I said, but he's going to miss the next few months, obviously, with that back injury. Hyun-Jin Ryu, when this guy is healthy, he can pitch like a number 2 pitcher, but he didn't pitch at all last season, and he's still trying to come back. They think he's going to be back by May. So if they can get him back pitching like he was in 2014, then you got something special there. And you also got Alex Wood as well. Now, he was a better pitcher for the Braves than he was for the Dodgers, I think you were saying. 47, correct?
The drop in strikeout rate is what really concerned me.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's a number 1 or number 2 pitcher or anything, but for the back end of the rotation, I think Alex Wood could be one of the better ones in baseball. And plus, I mean, what you have in the minor league system is ridiculous. I mean, there's also Mike Bolsinger or whatever his name is. I don't think he's going to be in this rotation too much this season, especially when guys are healthy. But you have 2 of the best prospects in baseball in Julio Urias. He's only 19 years old, and he's already pitched in Double-A. And this guy's, I mean, he looks like he's going to be an ace for sure. And Jose De Leon as well. He's 23 years old. He pitched between high A and Double-A last season. He throws in the 90s. He had a 2.99 ERA, 163 Ks compared to 37 walks in 114 innings between high A and Double-A, like I was saying. And there's actually talk that he could start the season in the rotation while these other guys are injured. And when they come back, I mean, he'll have options, so they can put him back in the minors if he's not pitching lights out like he can. Now, I'm hearing that De Leon could be more of a number 3 pitcher, but when I look at this guy's numbers, I look at his size and everything, he looks like he's going to be an ace to me, and really he reminds me of Jose Fernandez, to tell you the truth. But if De Leon gets in this rotation, I could see them waiting on Urias a little bit. He might get a shot later this season. Like I said, he's only 19 years old right now, but he's way ahead of the game, way ahead of other 19-year-olds. And he may be in this rotation at some point. But even if it's just De Leon, you got Kershaw, Kazmir, Maeda, Wood, and De Leon. I think that looks great. Plus, you have Ryu and Anderson on a DL coming back at some point. You got Zach Lee, a guy they've been waiting on for a while now in L.A. He's 24 years old. In AAA last year, he had a 2.70 ERA. 81 Ks in 113 innings isn't great, but he only had 19 walks as well, allowed 107 hits. This guy's probably more of a number 3, 4, 5 in the rotation, but that's another good arm. And Gerald Cotton as well. He's 23 years old. Between 4 levels last year, mostly Double-A and Triple-A, he had a 2.41 ERA, 114 Ks compared to 31 walks in 96 innings. He's still a little bit inconsistent, and maybe he's pushed to the bullpen because they have so many starting pitchers out here. But I see this rotation set this season. Injuries, no injuries, whatever. Just keep Clayton Kershaw healthy, and you'll have many, many options outside of that.
Ton of arms.
Oh, yeah. The Dodgers are set, man. And for some reason, they can spend all the money in the world, but yet other teams keep trading them their best prospects, too. I'm getting kind of tired of it. The Dodgers
Money
have
talks.
everything. Their minor league system's good. They have all the money in the world to spend. They're set, man. Although, I'm not high on their bullpen. They got Kenley Jansen at the back end, one of the best closers in all of baseball. And that's just because he's so good, their bullpen's okay. But outside of that, Luis Avilan, Carlos Frias, I do like Pedro Baez. He's a pretty good young pitcher still. I think he's just entering his prime now, and he's already showed he can pitch in the bigs. But Chris Hatcher, J.P. Howe, like I said, they signed Joe Blanton. I think that's one of their better arms in the bullpen here. So, oh yeah, there's also Yimi Garcia, a guy that closed for him a little bit last year when Kenley Jansen wasn't healthy, and this guy's very young as well, and he looks like he could be a good pitcher as well. I think actually he has the most upside other than Jansen in this bullpen. But there's outside of Jansen, I mean, there's a lot of questions with this bullpen. So I don't know. I don't think the bullpen's that great. It might be a little deeper than the San Francisco Giants, who we were just talking about. But, I mean, they had questions in their bullpen last season, too, the L.A. Dodgers I'm talking about. And though they fixed it a little bit, I think there's still going to be a little bit of questions this season.
I myself aren't a fan of their bullpen.
No.
I mean, really, outside of Jansen, I mean, who you really talking about?
Like I said, Garcia got the upside. I like Joe Blanton. You don't like Joe Blanton?
I think he could be a very good addition to him. I mean, he seems to have re-erected himself as a relief pitcher.
Yeah, I think he's more of a long relief. I don't really see him at the back end of a bullpen or anything, but I think he can pitch some quality innings for you. You know, I think Pedro Baez could work his way to the back end of the bullpen now. I do like that guy. But you're right. Some of these names I don't like in the bullpen or whatever. Not that great. So I can see why you think the bullpen's a little weak, but it is a little bit better than last year at least. What do you think about the rotation, man?
I mean, what can you really say about Kershaw that nobody already doesn't know, you know?
Right.
But, I mean, Kazmir, I'm a little bit skeptical of him. It's not that I think he's a bad pitcher.
Yeah, I don't think he's a number 2.
I think durability
he's more of a number 3.
Well, I mean, there's durability concerns there.
That's why I don't like trusting. I don't like having my number 1 and number 2 pitchers with injury problems because when one of them goes down, then you're in really bad shape, you know?
Well, who'd you say were their top 4?
Pitchers?
Yeah, Kershaw.
Yeah, you got Kazmir, Kenta Maeda,
And Alex Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, Hyun-Jin Ryu is one of their better pitchers as well. He's just injured right now.
I think I might have just seen a report that said they're not expecting him to be coming back in May.
They're not now?
No.
Well, you're beating us, Hyun-Jin. They also got Brandon McCarthy on a 60-day DL. And like I said, that Frankie Montas is on a 60-day DL as well. So, I mean, they have so much depth at pitcher here. Some of these guys probably aren't even really injured, and they just had to put them on the frickin' DL. Because teams will do that, too.
It's kind of a dick move.
I mean, sometimes you got to do it, though, man. It's either that or lose a player. So the player just gets a hangnail and you say he broke his pinky.
Surprised that's legal.
Well, I don't think it really is.
Their coach Roberts just said it's unrealistic to see him in May.
It's unrealistic. Well, I mean, it's true. He didn't pitch at all last season. He got hurt before the season, and he missed all last year. And now he's still working his way back. He hasn't really done too much yet. So, I mean, I guess it is hard to believe he'll be back in May, but I do expect him back at some time. It's just, is he going to be able to stay healthy, and is he going to be able to pitch like he did before his injury? Because he's a very good pitcher. What do you think, though? 47. We know what you think about the Giants. So why are the Dodgers going to be in second place?
I predicted them to finish third.
Oh, third. You took the Diamondbacks in second.
Yep.
Dang, man.
Well, here's my thing with the Dodgers. You know, you look at them and you say, all right, they look great. Okay, I just said the re-signing of Howie Kendrick will end up being a big re-signing for him. No doubt about it. I mean, the question marks are just there. Puig, what's he going to give you? Peterson, the strikeouts, as I mentioned earlier. Sager looked awesome last year, and it's going to be exciting to see what this kid can do, but it remains to see what can he do over the full course of a season. There's the health of Turner. Gonzalez, is he going to decline because he's starting to get up there in age? So, I mean, aside from that, there's a little bit of rotation issues I have with this team, as I just mentioned. Kazmir's durability, he's injured sometimes, you know, and he's prone to being wild. Anderson being out's not going to help. Ryu, not going to see him anytime soon.
So just not feeling it, man. Too many injuries, too many questions is what you're saying.
That's it.
I think you're going to
I just see too much talent.
They do have talent. I'm not disputing that. I just think you're going to see a small step back this year, and then I think next year is going to be the time you actually see this team erupt.
Well, don't forget, too, man, if they're in it at the deadline, that they can go out and spend $400 billion.
Yeah, that they can.
That's why I am picking the Los Angeles Dodgers to come in first place, and I'm very excited to see both Jose De Leon and Julio Urias. I think these guys are going to be aces as well, and if they can keep Kershaw, De Leon, and Urias long term, this rotation is going to be monstrous.
I agree. First place, because the money and the talent's there, and it doesn't always fall in line for teams that have like that, but it will this year.
Believe it.
Again.
So our NL West predictions.
Break it down.
San Francisco, Arizona, Los Angeles, San Diego, Colorado.
And I said what? The Dodgers, the Giants, the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and the Rockies.
Same as you, only I flipped the Padres and the Rockies.
And all that could happen.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I'm big sleeper, the Diamondbacks.
Still in the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I am. They're due. Because Goldschmidt's a beast.
And Greinke's a beast.
In swimming in the outfield. Well, fans, that's going to do it for our MLB NL West preview. We broke them down and come up with the LA Dodgers 2-1. So
we win, man.
We win. They're going to do it. Fans, if you like it, if you want to hear more of it, you can hit us up on YouTube at www.youtube.com/betthespread. You can comment, hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. And look out for our remaining MLB segments. We're going to break down the NL Central and wrap up our preview for the 2016 year. Peace.